Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic Hypersonic.
I'm Barry P. Cook. I'm here to talk to you about the latest episode of Harley Quinn. It was called The First Person to Come Back from a Business Conference Without Chlamydia. As it starts, Ivy's on her way to a business meeting, or actually a convention on the moon, and Nora advises her to stay away from the Thanagarians because they all have chlamydia. As we know from the trailer for this season, the rocket is shaped like a giant mail package, and Ivy refers to it as a giant space dong. And what follows as she boards it and it takes off is a very suggestive, explicit sequence that makes it look like a sex act had been completed. Let's put it that way. All while Nora Freeze proclaims that she hopes the clouds don't have a gag reflex and that the sky is going to get pregnant. Anyway, Nightwing, Batgirl, Robin, and Harley in her new bat outfit bust up a shakedown of the mayor by Two-Face and his gang, but for some reason, Batgirl, Robin, and Nightwing's bat devices are not where they should be. They don't have them with them. Right after they finish doing this, Harley sees Ivy's rocket to the moon take off, and she flashes her chest at her in the window and says, "Have a nice trip, babe," or something like that, which is crazy. Luther undergoes some type of fitness regimen involving bathing in baby seal blood and pumping his thighs with a device as Clark Kent interviews him. Upon returning to the Batcave, the team discovers that Talia al Ghul is the one who took all their stuff so that she could liquidate it. She also announces that Wayne Industries is no longer going to be financing the Bat activities, just before she takes off to join the meeting, which, by the way, is called Malcon, on the moon. At Malcon, Ivy discovers that she isn't going to actually be participating in any panels or anything, and that she's been reduced to introducing Lex for his keynote. Team Bat family realize that they have to find a way to raise money, so they decide to offer Wayne Manor as an Airbnb. In the interim, Harley decides to try to teach them how to fight without their gadgets. Steppenwolf arrives at the conference to much fanfare, and Ivy decides that she wants to have a sit-down with him, so she goes about getting herself noticed, in part by liberating Mark Zuckerberg from a rope line that he was using to not fall into a crater on the moon. The Airbnb guests manage to get the drop on Nightwing and Batgirl and Robin at one point and tie them up because they want to rob the manor. Back on the moon, Lex and Talia talk about Ivy and how she's a brash new star on the scene, which Lex doesn't seem to really understand how to capitalize on, which Talia tells him he really should do, as they both watch people have sex, one of whom is apparently a stand-in for Superman. Lex then gets annoyed with Ivy and boots her from her role of introducing him and tries to read his speech without the introduction, but ends up reading part of the introduction in which he talks about how he's a woman. Lex then debuts a device to help repair the ozone so that the Earth will be safe for him and other evil people to continue to destroy. All the reporters in the audience, though, recognize it as socially conscious villainy, which is Ivy's thing, so they start talking to her and asking her questions and ignoring Lex. This, of course, upsets Lex quite a bit, so he starts pumping up his calves again with the device, but he does it to the point where they explode, at which point he opens the ceiling and blows everyone out into space, telling them to get off his moon. Harley manages to get to the manor just as the guests are trying to rob it and starts kicking their asses. Back on the moon, even though Clark is there, he can't do anything super to help because apparently the moon base has been laced with trace amounts of kryptonite. As Harley struggles to take down the Airbnb guests because they're apparently on drugs that make it difficult for them to feel pain, Barbara manages to get her hands loose enough to use her belt as a weapon, as Harley had suggested earlier. The rest of the team gets free and also use objects in their surroundings as weapons, which again follows Harley's training. As the episode ends, for some reason, Joker explodes Commissioner Gordon on his scooter, and Harley destroys the air fryer because apparently it made a bad smell when the guests cooked with it or something like that. And that's where the episode ended. So again, the show is very funny. It's very graphic. And a lot of the stuff that happens that's funny are sight gags based on, the different characters that are present and stuff going on in the background. And a lot of very quick quips and goofy stuff that happens. So it's really hard to capture that in a recap and review, as I was saying last week. But I continue to enjoy this show. I think Kaylee Cuoco does an excellent job as Harley Quinn, although she's not my favorite version of the character. She's definitely my second favorite version, in animation anyway. And, being a DC fan, I appreciate all the sight gags and Easter eggs and stuff like that. So for me, it's worth the watch. And, I only hope that my little notes and comments that I speak aloud in these videos after watching the episodes helps enhance other people's enjoyment of the show. But that's really all there is to say. So I'm going to get out of here. I'll be back when the next episode airs. Until I return, I wish you peace and long life.